Today I'll be ranking every element of Google search ads from the most important to the least. I'll be breaking down all 20 elements that you encounter when setting up a Google search ad, and I'll be basing those rankings on how much do they boost your click-through rates and your desired call to actions. Now I'll be doing these rankings as if I'm running Google ads for a local business, but really it's going to be helpful for other business models, whether you're an e-commerce store, drop shipping, or you're a consultant, realtor, that sort of thing. But first, let's actually break down the tier system that I'm using to rank your Google Ads search elements. So I've grouped them into 5 different categories. We have your S tier or your money tier. This is going to be absolute game-changing elements that are critical for your ads performance. Then we have your A tier, which are major contributors to your ads. Super important. They improve click-through rates and conversions, but maybe they're not game changers, but still super important. And then we have your B tier, which are very helpful elements, but maybe not game changers by themselves. Next, we have your C tiers, which are helpful again, but maybe they're not deal breakers if you don't have them in your ads. So your ads can survive without them. And then we have our last tier, which is your doo-doo tier. And this is your lowest impactful elements. For certain elements, it's things that are rarely shown. So your doo-doo tier is still helpful, but not necessary. So for this breakdown, I'm going to be going in order of importance based off of click-through rates and how elements improve your call to actions. And I'll actually go in order of how you see these elements within your Google Ads dashboard so that you can actually follow along while I'm talking through it. With that said, let's dive right into the rankings. So the first Google Ads element that we'll be covering is the final URL. And this is where people are going to land on when they click on your ad, and it's going to either go to a website or preferably a landing page. And of course, it needs to be a working URL. But once you have that established, no one's really reading the text itself, the word of your URL, and figuring out like, I really don't like this domain. I'm not going to click on this ad. So it doesn't really impact your ads click-through rates and the performance as much as other elements on this list. And for that reason, I'm going to give it a doo-doo tier rating. It's going to be a doo-doo tier. I'm sorry, but it is what it is. For this next element, we'll be ranking the display path. And display paths are typically small font. It's going to show right after your final URL. And it's a good opportunity to maybe reinforce your offer or reinforce your ad relevance. But really, it's like the leftovers of your final URL. So for that reason, it's got to be a doo-doo tier. Starting off with 2 doo-doo tiers, but it's all good because next we have your first headline, your headline number uno. And headline number 1s are the biggest font in your ad. They are the first thing that people read. They're the most critical element for grabbing attention when someone sees your ad. It allows you to use emotional triggers that induce things like scarcity or trust or humor or remove fear. And it's also an opportunity to make your ad more keyword relevant. And that's so important with Google's algorithm and getting a good quality score. And for those millions of reasons that I just mentioned, I'm going to give, rightfully so, an S tier rating to headline number 1. Next, we have headline number 2, and it's almost as critical as headline number 1, but really it comes after the first headline. And for that reason, I can't give it the same rating. I'm going to give it a solid A rating, still a major factor with your ads and their performance. And it's still an opportunity to give strong call to actions and give people reasons to click on your ad and reinforce trust and credibility. But it's not a headline number 1, so I'll give it an A rating. Next, we have headline number 3. Now, headline number 3s, they're rarely shown. And that's across mobile platforms, tablets, computers, desktops. And for that reason, I gotta give it a doo-doo tier rating. It shows after the first headline, after the second headline, and it's not even shown much at all at that. I suggest you'd actually unpin your headlines so that Google's algorithm and Google's magic sauce can do its magic stuff and actually show the best performing headlines in the correct order. It's going to take a while for Google to learn which headlines to put in which order, but eventually it will know and optimize your ads accordingly. Alternatively, you can pin your headlines in a certain order and split test that against leaving them unpinned. So that's typically what I do. Next, we have description number 1. So with description number 1s, they provide details immediately underneath the headlines. This is an opportunity for you to be persuasive, add value to your ads, include a strong call to actions, reinforce the things that your headlines offer, and remember to stay on topic with your descriptions so that you can continue to get a solid and good quality score. For all those reasons, I have to give it a solid A+ rating. Next, we have description number 2. And with description number 2, it adds further detail and reinforces description number 1. But again, if someone even gets to that point, they've already read your headline, read your initial description. It's still important, but slightly less impactful if users decide to even read that far. And so for that reason, the most I could give it is a solid B rating. I mean, you could even drop this down to a C, to be honest. Next, we have our images, and these are obviously eye-catching. An image is going to catch your eye in a sea of text. So with that said, you got to give an image a solid rating. It could help bring attention to your headlines, catch the eye, make people want to read your headlines, cause engagement in your ad. But by itself, it won't do everything that you need your ad to do as far as call to actions and that sort of thing. So for that reason, I'm going to give it a solid B rating. All right, so next we have business name. Now, your business name is really important because it establishes trust and credibility. It shows people that you're a legitimate business and not some fictitious lead generation company, maybe called some generic name like Los Angeles Plumbing Pros, and trying to sell those leads to an honest and legitimate business and taking advantage of them, which I'll cover in a later video. But for that reason, I'm going to give it a solid B tier rating. So there you go. Next, we have your business logo. A lot smaller than the image on your ad, but still is an option to add trust and credibility, but maybe less visually impactful than images or headlines. And for that reason, it's a C tier for me. Next, we have your site links. Now, your site links are really powerful. You definitely want to include site links in all of your Google search ads. Your site links are going to increase the digital real estate that your ad takes up. It's going to offer more options for a user. Let's say you're looking for a plumbing service, but maybe the site links will have water heater repair, drain cleaning, fix my toilet. It's giving people options to choose from, keeping their attention on your ad. And those are all positive factors that increase click-through rates and increase their chances of taking action on your ad. And so for all those bajillion reasons, I'm going to give it a solid A. I honestly wouldn't be that mad if you've given it a solid S tier. All right, so next we have promotions. Now, promotions are really useful for discounts or maybe offers that you have for your business, but they might not always appear due to space constraints. Google has a lot of people bidding for space on those search results. And for that reason, for the reason that they're not always going to show when you add them as part of your ad repertoire, I have to drop them down to a solid C tier rating. C tier for me. And prices are going to be very similar as well to promotions. They are prioritized a lot less, especially for service businesses, because it's not a key element like a headline or a URL. And while they're critical for businesses like e-commerce stores, they're not as important or shown for other service-based or local businesses. And for that reason, I'm going to give it a solid C. Next, we have calls. Now, the call option inside of an ad is the freaking holy grail. You definitely want to include a phone number. And I'm talking from the point of reference as a service a local service business like a plumber or an HVAC or a cleaning company. And because calls are the main driving force of their business, people are calling to get quotes, people are calling to ask for maybe a free consultation. And because of that, I'm going to give it a solid SSS, show me the money tier. For other types of businesses, like let's say an e-commerce store, call elements are not as important. You know, if someone's clicking on that, maybe they want to talk to customer service because they want to complain about a product that they receive or start some type of return or refund process. So maybe not as important. But for local businesses, calls are a way to enable direct communication with the customer. So S tier for me. With messages, it's also super similar. It reduces friction for people to be able to get quotes from your business, to be able to contact you easily directly from the Google Ads display. And you can actually have it pre-filled to say like, I'd like to get a quote for X. And not many businesses are even using the message option inside of their ads. And that's where you can actually stand out as a business. And all you got to do is set up the WhatsApp for business. The advertiser needs to set this up, but for the person viewing the ad, they don't need to go on a WhatsApp. It's all done within that Google Ads display. So super solid. I'm going to give it a solid S tier. And next we have call outs, and for very similar reasons to prices and promotions, I'm going to give call outs a C rating, and that's due to it not showing, but still valuable for adding trust signals or additional benefits like locally owned or family owned or serving you for 50 years, something like that. So still an opportunity to add trust and credibility, but it doesn't always show. So I got to give it a C rating at best. And next we have structured snippets, which is a really small font. It's not always shown. Very similar to callouts. I'm going to give it a C tier at best, and I'm being pretty nice here. It could be a doo-doo rating for me. Next we have lead forms. Now with lead forms, it actually allows potential customers to submit a quote request directly from the ad, which is really, really good for fast lead generation. It reduces friction. Some people they don't want to talk on the phone, or they're just kind of shopping around. It reduces friction and gives them a chance to ask for a quote kind of passively. And the downfall to it is that you have to actually log into Google Ads to view the lead form submissions. And they're only stored for 30 days within the Google Ads platform. So for that reason, it's kind of a headache to set up. But if you do create some type of webhook or automation, so these lead form submissions can automatically be added to your CRM, then it could be super valuable. I'm going to put them in an A tier, but really, if you have your automations and systems dialed in on, then it could easily be an S tier for me. But because of the complexities of it to set it up, I'm going to give it an A tier. Now, moving on to the bottom of our list, we have our locations option. Now, in order for this to work and show up, you're going to need to have your Google Business Profile connected to your Google Ads account. If you do, make sure your Google Business Profile is optimized really well. And that means adding a bunch of pictures, videos, having great reviews, a ton of reviews, all the information to show off your business. Make sure you have that on your Google Business Profile. So that's going to do a lot of the selling for you and incentivize people to take action on your ad. And if people are looking on their cell phone, this option can actually automatically open up someone's Google Map app on their phone and have your business's location already pinned on the map. So super important for brick and mortar businesses, but a lot less relevant for e-commerce businesses, really not relevant at all. So with that said, I'd give it a solid B tier rating. But if you're a local business or a brick and mortar business, this can easily be an A tier rating or even an S tier, honestly. So I might actually leave it as an A tier rating because of that. And last, but certainly possibly least, we have apps. If you're promoting an app, it would obviously elevate it to an S tier. Otherwise, it's really not useful for most businesses, especially local businesses. And for that reason, it's going to be a doo-doo tier. Sorry. But there you have it. That covers all 20 elements within the Google search ads repertoire, ranked from your S tier, which is your money tier, your game changers, down to your doo-doo tier, which are things that you can do without. So again, a recap: elements like your headlines, things that connect people directly with you, like calls and messages, they tend to have the highest impact on your click-through rates and people taking action on your ads. While you have other elements like the final URL or headline number 3 or the second description or app extensions that are really much less impactful on boosting your ad performance. But with that in mind, hopefully this tier structure helped you know where to focus more of your attention when creating Google search ads, and then you can sort of sprinkle in some of your leftover energy on the less impactful parts. But they all matter. They all matter, especially if they're relevant to your business. So I'll drop more content on probably each of these elements in the future. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. Give this a thumbs up, like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.